In this quick video, we're going to walk through query string field, what it is, why you'd use it, and how to set it up in Conga Composer. So first off, what is query string field? It's a composer parameter that gives you the ability to add other Conga Composer parameters into a separate Salesforce formula field, and then reference that custom field in the composer merge process. You can reference up to 3 different query string fields with a different formula field for each. There are a few reasons why you might want to use query string field. The biggest one would be to work around character limits. Salesforce buttons can only actually handle about 3,000 bytes, and formula fields have a max of 1,300 characters after evaluation. So if you're cramming in a lot of parameters, or maybe you have a lot of template IDs or query IDs, or you're using a lot of complex dynamic logic, it's pretty easy to hit those limits. With conditional logic in particular, query string field allows you to offload that logic into a field, which will help reduce the URL complexity and can even improve your composer load time by a bit. It also will let you reuse the same solution across multiple scenarios, like different record types or business units, just by letting the formula field itself drive the logic. Setup is pretty simple. Step 1 would be to create the formula field on your object with return type of text. Inside the formula, you'll write out your Salesforce formula, which will return composer parameters. And you can also use Salesforce formula logic, like if statements, case statements, or others. You'll just want to make sure that the field is accessible to the user running Composer. Then, in your Composer button or URL, reference the field with the API name for the query string field parameter. So let's talk about some use case examples. You can use query string field for all kinds of dynamic logic, like choosing different template or data gathering parameters with formula logic. So for example, here in Salesforce, I'm on an opportunity record. Let's say we want to generate slightly different template logic based on the opportunity record type. I've created a formula field here, query string field Conga template selection, where I have a case statement, which looks at the record type of the record that we're launching Composer from, and then we'll select different template IDs and different template group values based on the record type. Note that we're using multiple parameters in this example. This is where a query string field really shines. Query string field can also be used for conditional document generation, so populating, again, multiple parameters based on field values like localization, language, status, running user info. So as an example, say you want to generate a document and either email it or send it via signature based on a field value or other condition. You can use query string field to decide which parameters to use in either scenario. It's also useful for building long formatted email bodies, which won't fit in the button by itself. And our most common use case is when a Composer solution has a lot of queries that won't fit in the button. Lastly, let's cover a few gotchas. First, don't use merge field syntax in query string field. Query string field parameter expects the API field name only, not a merge field. Secondly, you won't see the evaluated formula when troubleshooting using the Composer debug URL. So when troubleshooting, it can help to temporarily add the formula field to your page layout or use a tool like Salesforce Inspector just to see what it's actually producing. And finally, remember that the formula field will still be subject to that 1,300 character limit. So for example, back in Salesforce, let's say we have a use case where we need to use 100 queries in our Composer solution. Now, they're not all going to fit in one formula field. So what we can do is create a second or maybe even third query string field. We'll want to make sure that only the first query string field contains the query ID parameter name, and then subsequent ones, like query string field 1 here, will just start off with the next query. And then in the button syntax, we'll reference it using query string field and query string field 1, and we'll make sure to put them in order. And that's it. Query string field is a simple but powerful parameter which will help you leverage Salesforce formulas in Composer solutions. Thank you.